40 years ago today, our nation's highest court ruled on Roe versus Wade, the landmark decision regarding a woman's right to abortion. Today, our Matt King asked a lawyer and a scientist to look back.
Yeah, Michelle, you start talking to people about Roe versus Wade and you stir up a lot of passionate feelings stemming from a lot of different places. Religion, government, law, morality, science, and probably a lot more.
Well, this ranks right up there with some of the most important decisions of the 20th century.
Legally, Roe versus Wade provided the Supreme Court justices with a unique conundrum.
There was no real constitutional precedent for finding a liberty or a right.
Constitutional attorney John Rumpf says many legal historians now view the ruling as somewhat of a surprise.
The dissents were very strong.
Laws banning abortion existed well before this country even enacted the 14th Amendment the Supreme Court used in its ruling. Textbooks in U.S. history classes across the nation now teach the holding, but most avoid how close it came to being overruled. In 1992, Justice Kennedy initially sided with the more conservative justices to annul Roe versus Wade, but then changed his mind, writing,
"At the heart of liberty is the right to define one's own concept of existence, of the meaning of the universe, and of the mystery of life."
Abortion is completely a private matter.
So I don't think that there's any real possibility now that Roe versus Wade will be ever overruled.
I think it's never going back.
Jennifer Chase researches fetal alcohol syndrome and teaches human biology at Northwest Nazarene University, a Christian school.
Probably the worst thing that I have to do is during human biology class, we talk about partial birth abortion versus the regular abortion.
40 years after a decision Rumpf compared in importance to Brown versus the Board of Education, Chase sees room for the conversation to continue.
I think the whole thing is fresh in that life beginning is still a new question of how can we create it to happen.
A dialogue made possible by a landmark, positive for some, negative for others, in the realms of liberty and law, society, and science.
If you will, an example of the Supreme Court of the United States creating law.
People should know what it is that we're even talking about. I mean, it's not just an abstract word. There's an actual process that takes place, and I think it behooves us to kind of know what it is that we're voting or fighting about even.
Chase talked a lot about embryo adoption and babies now being viable at as young as 22 weeks as possible next frontiers in this debate. Live in studio, Matt King, Fox 9 on your side.